to UltraChenTV. This is the Tuesday show. I'm James Chen. And you're confused.
Hey, I'm Ultra David.
Oops, hang on a second. UltraChenTV. This is the Tuesday show. Stuff. I'm James Chen. Sorry, there you go.
Hi. Let me
you
just.
You look confused. You look baffled. Oh, people are saying that they're static already, huh?
You just gotta do it every 10 seconds for me. Alright, so I believe I have my notes all in order.
Okay.
So what we're going to talk about today are a few things. Actually, it should be a good show.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the Capcom Pro Tour 2016, which was just announced officially with the official rule set and tournaments and all that stuff last hour at the Capcom, whatever it's called, with Miguel Reese and Combo Fiend. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about Street Fighter 4. You know, with Street Fighter 5 coming out, Street Fighter 4 is sort of on the way out as the main game. And it shouldn't die, and we'll talk about this. But I just think, you know, we think it would be interesting to talk about sort of a retrospective of it. Legacy, its impact, how people will view it in years to come, all that stuff. And then, of course, there's game news, there's community news. We'll talk about FGC-related businesses not doing so hot. And
right, unfortunately. So, but, I mean, so just before this all started, there was definitely some big announcements coming up from the Capcom Pro Tour. Combo Fiend showed up on Capcom Pro Talk.
Yeah.
Finally had some news on what events there's going to be, and how the point system's going to work, and yeah.
It's pretty complicated.
I feel like I've got a concept of it, but the way I compare it is like, seriously like some BP and some PP stuff going on from Street Fighter 4. Because there's like this regional rankings, and then there's the global rankings, so that's kind of feel like the regionals like the character rankings, and you know.
Yeah, something like that. So, just in broad strokes, there will be 32 players at the Capcom Cup again.
Yes.
There will be 11 people who qualify by winning premier tournaments. 11 people who win just via premieres.
Right, and like I was saying, that they divided it evenly last time, so it was like 4 premieres in each area, but this time it seems like they said, you know what, people are traveling everywhere all the time, so why bother? So let's just go ahead and do premiere events, whichever ones are the biggest and the most professional, I guess, kind of productions is the one that they're going for.
Well, we'll talk about which ones those are, but just before we do, one person, whoever wins EVO, will qualify. Then there are 8 people who qualify from regional point leaderboards.
Right.
And 8 people who qualify from global point leaderboards.
Okay.
Again, in total, there are 32.
So basically what's going to happen is that there are 4 regions now. So in each of those regions, they're going to be kind of like a local competition, kind of like how CPT Asia worked, you know, all the past couple of years. So what it sounds like it's going to work is that as you play in those regions, the events are going to be pitted into a specific region. As you play in those tournaments, you will gain points for the region, and you will also gain points for global. But region is obviously fixed in a particular region, so if you travel a lot, you're only earning points for those specific regions, but you're also adding all the points together for global. Now...
Right, I forgot to mention also 4 from regional finals events.
From what I'm gathering by how the regional events work is that you are going to be earning points within those regions. And when you get to the point where each region is going to have basically a finals, kind of like CPT Asia, that's going to take place around October, November time. And once you get to that point, it seems like the champion from each of those are going to qualify.
Yes.
Then, from the regional points, 2 players from each region will qualify based on their placement on those boards. Because it said 8 players will qualify from the regional points. And then 8 players will qualify from the global points.
Right.
Do I have that right?
I think so, as far as I can tell. The way that you earn regional points is by doing well at ranking events and by doing well at online qualifiers and Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Then the way that you earn global points is all of those ways, plus doing well at premier events.
Right. Mm-hmm. So you get points for everything, it sounds like, and that just goes into the global points. But it seems like what they really, really wanted to do was to make it so that almost kind of guarantee that we get players from each of the regions.
Right.
Which is kind of neat.
I definitely like that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever, the complicated method aside, I think that's sort of the important takeaways. Two important takeaways.
Mm-hmm.
32 players and guaranteed to get regional representation.
Right.
So even though the premieres are not as well spaced out geographically as they were last year, the way that the points system is handled should result, it seems like necessarily will result, in representatives from each geographical spot
Right.
ending up, I don't know, barring some catastrophe 8 Japanese players in every single ranking event.
Right.
Which is
look, if they travel...
probably not going to happen, but,
To be honest, if they travel to every region, they could steal a lot of the region points.
Right.
But then they would have to also go to the region finals as well.
Right.
But they could 100% do it.
They could.
I mean, they've been traveling a lot already. We like this last year, they've been traveling a bunch of times. So let me see here. I grabbed screen caps here.
Okay.
Like literally, I was streaming on my phone and I grabbed some screen caps. And basically, there's the 4 regions, right? So the 4 regions are CPT North America.
Yes.
Which is going to encompass Canada, United States, and Puerto Rico.
That's the U.S., if you're not aware of that.
Right, right.
Part of our country.
There's CPT Europe. And CPT Europe is going to be the Eastern Europe, Western Europe, and Middle East. So the Middle East will count as part of Europe. There will be CPT South America, and that will be comprised of Mexico, South America, the Dominican Republic, and Costa Rica.
Right.
And finally, there's going to be CPT Asia, which encompasses China, Korea, Japan, Southeast Asia, and Australia.
Right.
So there you go. So those are the 4 different regions. I mean, I can name all the events from every one of the regions if you want.
All that info is up on Red Bull, which redbull.com/CPT2016, if I recall correctly, has all the info. I don't know that we need to get into the specifics of that, but it is nice that each of those regions is in there. I mean, just to sort of briefly look at them, there are 3 in Brazil. There's 1 in Costa Rica. There are a couple in China, a couple in Japan, 1 in Australia. There's Middle East has it, Eastern Europe has it, Western Europe has it. Of course, North America, meaning U.S. and Mexico. U.S. and Canada have it as well. So.
Yeah, the only thing that's still interesting to me, it seems like despite how big Street Fighter is getting, we still don't have very good representation in Africa. That's the one area that's completely... We mentioned this last year too. We were like, there's no Africa kind of area, because it was 4 here, 4 here, 4 in the 3 different regions, and then there was the 4 extras that were kind of the Canada and Evo didn't count as a region kind of stuff. But Africa still seems to be missing. I mean, I'm sure they have a scene. I remember last year when we mentioned it. Last year when we mentioned it, a bunch of people on Twitter was like, I play Street Fighter, I'm in Africa. So, hopefully if you are in Africa and you do have the means to start throwing events, definitely try to get a scene going out there. Like you said, it's a big place.
It's a pretty big place.
It's a pretty big place.
Depending on how you define the Middle East, that might include parts of Africa.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. The geographical specificity of some of that makes me wonder some of the things, is Honduras not in there? Can we not play from... Because it's specifically Mexico and Costa Rica and the Dominican.
If you're from Peru.
And then South America. Well, that should be good.
Oh, okay, because they had South America listed in there. Okay.
But I don't know. I just think some of that is funny. It's the stupid lawyer in me that's well, what about Fiji?
Fair enough.
But anyway. Yeah, no, I sort of in broad strokes, I like the ideas. As we said, maybe there's the possibility that this doesn't result in as much geographical diversity as I think they want, but in all likelihood.
Yeah,
it would.
I mean, look, it's guaranteed, hopefully, that, you know, 2 of the players will come from the South America region, like I said, unless, of course, the Japanese players just go out there and try to win all their events. But there are a lot of ranking events in each of those areas, so it's going to be really cool. I mean, it is a little more complicated, but I'm sure as it goes on and we start seeing the points come in, it'll all start really to make sense. And in fact, just even sitting here discussing it, like, it's making more sense to me.
Yeah, I think so too.
As it goes.
I like the addition of the online qualifiers. So that was in there a couple of years ago.
So where do the online qualifiers? Are there going to be regional online qualifiers?
Yeah, I think those are the only online qualifiers. Okay, I think that if I recall correctly, each region will feature 2 online events.
Okay.
The winners of the ranking events and online events will be flown to the regional finals event.
So the question that I have, since it's online, could you technically be from Japan and play in the South America regional event, or are they going to keep it, you know?
I hope at least for that they keep it regional. Just if for no other reason than...
But how can they guarantee
the lag?
it?
Well, I don't know if they can. No, maybe they can guarantee it, because maybe they'll say, look, if they're going to fly everybody to the ultimate event, like, they'll know where you're flying from. But at some point the jig's going to be up.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Unless you want to, like, fly to Brazil yourself so they can fly you to the finals, which seems kind of ridiculous, but...
But of course, people who win the online events are not guaranteed to be in the Capcom Cup, right? They have to... They have to either win the regional finals or have done well enough in other events to get...
enough points for the
regional points.
Yes,
regional, I was going to say ranking points, but regional points.
Yes. That
okay,
sounds
good.
About right.
Cool.
About right.
Yeah, you know, obviously Capcom has spent a lot of time and money trying to work on this online system. They've had betas and stress tests specifically for that, and it should be good. It should be good quality, and if it is good quality, then I wholly support having online qualifiers. I think that's awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of other games have been doing that. Skullgirls has done online tournaments. Killer Instinct had some of the online tournaments count towards the KI Cup.
Right.
You know, as long as the netcode is good.
Right.
Let's do it.
I think that's great. Yeah, for sure. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy that they're flying people who win ranking events to the regional finals. I think it's sort of underrated how difficult travel can be for some people, especially considering that some of these are ranking events. Maybe you live in Southern California or whatever, or wherever. Yeah, West Coast Warzone is one. Maybe you win Warzone, but you just can't really travel to other events to get whatever points that you need.
Right. And it's cool, too, because, obviously the KI Cup is still working to get to that level. I mean, a lot of the players who qualified for that had to travel out there themselves.
Sure, yeah.
I was actually really surprised that so many of them made it. It was like only the Japanese players who didn't go. But, I mean, you're right. That it's a really big burden for a lot of the for these companies to fly these people out to these events. So definitely shout outs to them.
I definitely don't want it to be a situation where only the sort of like sponsored esports players can qualify and do well. I definitely don't want it to be like that. I want it to feel like it's more open, and I feel like they are doing that with flying people out. So I think that's good.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems like it's going to be pretty much mostly the same standards and setup. Obviously, the way the points are gathered is going to be different. They did say that EVO is just its own beast, so it's its own thing, right? What I really hope they do for EVO this year is, since EVO is, like, crazy, like, do you think we're going to get 3,000 people at EVO this year for Street Fighter V? Do you think that's a possibility?
Of course it's a possibility. It's a practical possibility.
Right. Since there's so many people, since winning that's the big one, most of the time it's like N number of points for first place, N divided by 2 for second place, N divided by 4 for, whatever. I really hope for EVO that they do not do as big of a divide.
Yes.
Like, I would like EVO first place to be N, and then second place be like 75% instead of 50%, And because getting top 8 at EVO, I feel like that's ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You deserve points.
Agreed.
You deserve points.
Agreed.
So yeah.
But even for other events, I hope that it's not the sort of case where 8th place gets 2 points or whatever it was from last year. Just some paltry amount that it didn't even matter outside of like just on the very margin. Outside of that, that didn't even really matter. So I want them to redo the points a little bit so that, you know, so it does matter that you make top 8s.
Right. Because, I mean, some of those events, it wasn't even just EVO, right? Like Tokyo Game Show last year. Was it Southeast Asia Majors, I think it was. There was just a bunch of those events that you just looked at the top 8 and you're like, you know, we said it a million times, throw them in a hat, pick out a name. So they all definitely deserve more points. So hopefully the points aren't as fast of a drop-off. So
yeah, definitely. I liked it, you know. I love Mike, and I think he is a great host in many a way. But when it comes to like informational stuff, I don't feel like that's his strong suit.
Damn! Like what do you mean? Like just explaining how CBT worked, or showing us how Zangief is supposed to play?
Hold on, James. Before you finish that thought, let me do my Mike Ross impersonation. By interrupting you.
Oh man. Poor Mike Ross. I was wondering if it was just like trying to get the CPT information.
That's not the worst loss he took today, alright.
Or if it was, you know, the Zangief information that he was trying to, you know, trying to give out. Because I don't feel like he did very good in that either.
No.
He lost to 2-minute Fang, dude. Or Fang, I should say. Yeah.
That was terrible. It's going to be tough for him to live that down.
Yeah. But it's a bad matchup, right? We don't know anything.
Who knows?
Yeah, I know, right? So.
No idea.
Oh, man. Poor Mike Ross. Poor poor Miguel Reese.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. No, you know what? And we mentioned this before. Mike and Combo Fiend as like hosts of fighting game related stuff, awesome. They're so good at that.
And Flo is right there with them.
Sure.
Flo is right there with them. Like he belongs in that mix. Agreed. So yeah, like I almost feel like Flo has kind of found his calling almost, you know, to be involved with Peter and Mike to do a lot of that stuff. I think all three of them together also make a good trio. Sure. You know, any two of them at a time is good, but I think all three of them together is good. So
yeah, definitely. Well, is there anything else to say about what we know about the Capcom Pro Tour so far?
The interesting thing, okay, so I loved Z's tweet. He was like, "It is hard for Yun to get in to the next year of Capcom Pro Tour because Kazunoko's doesn't get an automatic berth."
What do you think about that?
I think it's fair. I think it makes sense. It's a brand new game. Who knows, right? Maybe it turns out Kazunoko was terrible at this game. You know, we don't know. We never know. Probably very unlikely if you can find the right character. Who do you think he would play? He feels like a Rashid to me.
Oh, I can see that.
I can see him playing Rashid.
Yeah, I can see that. No, I think it's the right call.
Okay.
I think it's the right call. Just because you won a tournament in one game doesn't mean you're gonna be great in the next one. I think it's likely, like you said, if he plays the game like that, and I don't see why he wouldn't.
He's gonna make it.
He's a really talented player. I mean, he's already a multi-game competitor, so he'll be legit.
Oh, some people are saying that he's been playing Nakali. Interesting. Well, here's my question to you. So Combo Fiend dodged the question, but Mike Ross asked him, "Who do you expect to do well in Street Fighter V this year?" And Combo Fiend was like, "I don't know. It's such a different game."
I'll tell you who's number one on my list right now.
Oh, you have someone who's number one.
I mean, I don't know that. Whatever, but sure. Somebody who I think is going to do really well is Shen. I think.
Okay, yeah.
I think this game is made for somebody like Shen. He plays offense. He knows how to play different characters. His character, if he plays Dalsum.
Okay, that's why.
You don't even know, man. Oh my god, that character is ridiculous. He played Dalsum in SF4, and he's a setup heavy player who likes tech and zoning at the same time, and he can play offense. I'm telling you guys, when you see Dalsum stuff, oh my gosh, it's absurd. It's absurd. So he's somebody who I think can do really, really well. Okay. I mean, I feel like players like Momochi will do well. I feel like Daigo can do well. Anybody who has sort of that offensive understanding and doesn't need to rely on tech, I think can be good.
I actually honestly feel like that this game, like if I had to name some players who kind of disappeared late Street Fighter 4, and this is such a call out.
Okay.
But I think like Justin and Ricky are gonna do super well in this game.
I totally agree. I totally agree. At least early, until or unless there's like some very tech heavy stuff. If that comes out, I really hope that they take it seriously and that they learn it this time.
But if it is as footsie and momentum and like reads based as it is, I think Justin and Ricky will do super well in this game. I expect them to have a huge comeback.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And I know that people rip on LPN. But I really think that this game is made for somebody like him who likes to play offense, likes to play many different characters, is tricky, sort of doesn't need to rely on mechanics to escape. I think that that's the kind of game it seems like it is, at least for now. Maybe we'll see. But I really do think that he's a good pick for somebody who can do well.
Yeah, because honestly, I feel like you kind of touched on that, you know, people who can play multiple characters. I really feel like Street Fighter 5 is not going to do well for character loyalists. I don't know why. I just have this feeling like not that one character is going to run into a bunch of bad matchups.
Yeah.
But I feel like learning, you know how like in a lot of the games, the Sonic Foxes, the Rico Suaves, the all of KOF players, you know, how they learn multiple characters and they can play. I feel like Street Fighter 5 kind of has that flow to it that when you learn one character, a lot of the strategies you're using kind of will transcend between characters, and being able to switch between characters a lot to choose the right matchup for you, I think is going to be big in this game. And there's only 16 characters, so it's going to be a lot easier to learn.
Right.
You know, so early on it's going to be that way. Once Street Fighter 5 gets to 44 characters, you know, yes, then it'll be a lot harder to do that, because then you got to learn 88 matchups, right? So right now at 16 characters, I feel like it'll really pay off to learn multiple characters.
Personally, I feel like many of the characters are individually more complicated than many of the characters in Street Fighter 4, which I feel like gets a rap as being complicated, but oftentimes is not.
Right.
But I don't expect that the game, in any case, will be more like that than SF4 was. But in SF4 already, many people had three to 10 characters, depending on the player.
Yeah.
And those were some of the best players in the world. So, I mean, already you could do that. I don't think it'll be any different. In fact, with even more pressure on the line, I expect that people would be more likely to learn more characters.
Yeah. I just, like, again, there's something about the offense of the game that I feel like can be applied to multiple characters, but again, I think it's the 16 character count that really is going to make it very multi-character friendly at first.
I could see that. Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to be a 42 character player or whatever.
So
44.
if you learn 3 characters, you're only learning 4 more matchups than if you learn 1 character in Street Fighter 4.
Oh,
right?
weird.
Right? Because it's 48 matchups. And you had 44 already in Street Fighter 4.
That's a funny way to put it. I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's definitely a lot easier to learn at first. Because what's going to happen is people are going to play, and they're going to be like, this character's fun. They're going to learn 16 matches, and they're going to want to learn more.
Yeah.
And they're just like, let me just pick up another.
A lot of the characters look fun.
Dude, I want to play everybody in that game. Yeah, and dude, that video that just came out, that Ken video, how it was talking about how to fight at mid-range with punish with hurricanes and fireball dash uppercut, and dude, that video was awesome.
EX anti-air hurricane looks really pretty good. Silly.
Yeah. I don't know how much invincibility, so it's going to be one of those things where they're jumping at a distance where like, he can't hit me here, so I'm not going to touch a button, then all of a sudden...
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. For me, I'm going to play as my mains. Obviously, I'm not going to compete, but my mains. Zangief, Dalsum, Bison.
Yeah.
I feel like with those characters so far, I feel like they pretty much address all of the matchups. The best one of those is going to be Sim. I mean. Oh wait, hold on.
Wait.
No, he's terrible. Excuse me. Let me
right.
Down.
Dalsum's awful.
I'll play the NRS dance.
Yeah.
character. You know, you can whiff punish his buttons from.
Yeah, I saw that.
screen.
He's gonna be so bad.
Tough
Yeah,
to push.
And like
buttons.
stand short and stand strong have the same range.
What's that
You
about?
know, that's terrible.
Stand medium kick. Yeah.
No, I'm actually going to use Zangief for sure. I really want to use Mika, but that's kind of a conflict because I feel like Zangief and Mika, you know, they're both grapplers. Although they play different enough that I don't think that they'll overlap too much.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to play Chun-Li.
She seems super good.
Chun-Li seems ridiculous.
In the beta, she seemed like the best character to me, but you know, obviously, who knows?
So I want to play Chun-Li, and I don't know, like my character loyalist in me makes me want to try to learn Cammy, but I just feel like I'm just gonna get bored and stop. But we'll see.
You know, I played against some Cammies that were doing some fun stuff.
Oh yeah,
I just wanna tell you.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I mean, look, I'm not gonna. I hate starting this already because I did this throughout all of Street Fighter 4's life. But like, is it just me or does Ken's EX Hurricane kick like is just way better of an EX dive kick than Cammy's EX dive kick already?
I don't know. I can tell you that Cammy's EX dive kick is way plus on block.
Right. Oh, but Ken's is not, right?
I'm not sure. I was just gonna say.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I think in that video we saw that if you block his Hurricane, you might be able to punish him.
Okay.
So that might be a big
'Cause
difference.
I tried at the worst possible spot against blocking Zangief, and I tried to punish with 720, no dice.
Right. I saw that on the video.
Okay.
So, but I mean, like again, I don't think she's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
I don't think she's gonna be bad.
I think she'll be more interesting than she originally seemed.
Yeah. I mean, the coolest part was that in Beta 3 they added the jump cancel off of the strong roundhouse, which pops him up in the air, and you can get like the dive kicks, or you can get the hooligan throws.
Yeah.
That actually looked kind of fun. So I'm definitely gonna
Yeah.
try. I'll try. I'll
Okay.
try. I want to try because of character loyalty. So.
Okay. You got the thing there.
There we go.
Well, that's a lot of Street Fighter 5 talk. Of course, the game comes out on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have an early copy. I just did a lot of work with other people who also did a lot of work during betas.
Right. And
And
you were doing a lot of that stuff where you were making sure you were recording the dummy so you wouldn't get matches, right?
I did do a lot of that.
Yeah. So in case you guys haven't seen it, check out youtube.com/UltraChenTV. David's put up a bunch of videos, including ones where you took a Ken player's soul. You had the wackiest mirror matches with Dalsum. So yeah, definitely. Check out the videos. No, I mean, there's some good matches. There's also you found a lot of really good tech.
Yeah.
And not only that, too, but one of the most educational things about those videos is watching how you used training mode.
Okay.
You know, because you're like, oh, let me test this. And, you know, figuring out how to test things and what to test was really, really informative in my opinion. I think a lot of people can glean a lot of information from that. Seeing like, okay, this person gives me trouble in a match, I'm going to figure out how to counter it. And if they watch the videos that you do, like, you know, testing how safe Bison scissor kick and a V trigger or whatever, stuff like that, I think it's really, really useful.
Cool, man. Well, thanks. Definitely going to put up a lot more of that stuff.
Yeah.
But before we get SF5, we did want to talk about Street Fighter 4.
That's right. Did you want to take a break? Or
Let's
did you
take a break.
Okay.
When we come back, we're going to talk about Street Fighter 4 and its impact and its legacy and how we think it'll end up being viewed.
All right. Be right back, guys.